All right. As you said, the day has come.
Day has come.
Oh, man. Well, got another little Confessions of a Street Broker here today. With us today is Mr. Christian Moore, Mercer Company.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad we could get this in before Snowmageddon 2.
It's fixing to happen. What's crazy is, like, I was telling Thomas this the other day, I used to, every time it snowed, I'd go make cold calls because the decision makers made it in.
Sure.
I kind of have a feeling they're not going to be there as much now. There's so much remote stuff now that, like, I think if you rolled up.
Yeah, I think also the ice on the roads probably. A lot of people are more cautious. But yeah, the remote thing certainly comes into play.
So this was, when I was doing that was all pre 2020, which is when the remote kind of really took off. So, but you never know. I don't know. I think it was always a point of just trying to see who's the psycho as me to go call on these things, but always calling 100,000 feet and above in those days.
Sure.
Someone's always there. So, but, well, you're the king of Plano and Richardson, market director,
Maybe not king, maybe prince.
Yeah. No, you and the Ninnis machine, the Warthog.
Warthog.
So y'all teamed up, what, 2 years ago?
Almost 2 years. I believe official start date was like May of 24.
Yeah.
So, and originally the plan, and this still is kind of how it's structured, was he was coming into specifically Alan McKinney.
Yeah.
And basically we would work together that whole corridor outside of Garland.
Yeah.
But kind of over time, he's kind of naturally done quite a few deals in Richardson.
Yeah.
As well. So.
Yeah. No, it's pretty cool. Y'all have a pretty good little working relationship. That's you know.
As he would say, my South African accent isn't the best, but when he introduces us, we're out making calls together. It's like, he's the brains, I'm the brawn.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's got that he's quite the character, man. He's quite the personality,
Yeah.
So, I could that's pretty funny. Yeah. Well, let's start at the beginning. Where'd you grow up?
I was born here, actually.
Okay.
In Dallas, lived in like Addison area, went to Parrish up until I was 7.
Okay.
And then moved to an area affectionately known as the Redneck Riviera in Florida. Take a guess.
Yeah.
It's 30A.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Destin. Ended up there like
That's kind of like the Highland Park Riviera now.
Sure. Yeah. A lot of construction, a lot of commercialization.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people live there now, but when I was there, it was only like 10,000. So, and then in the summers and spring break, of course, that number quintuples,
So, no, I usually go to Rosemary, which is, I don't know what the equivalent of a quarter zip is in the summertime, but you should know what it. I mean, like when I'm standing in line at a restaurant or something.
It's definitely golf polo.
Yeah, that or some kind of really expensive bathing suit or something. Like I'm standing in line. I'm like, oh, I bet that guy does a commercial in Atlanta. Oh, I bet he does commercial in Nashville. It's just all. It's pretty funny. It's got to make fun of yourself on those things, but
Actually, I went there last September. We drove. We have a 1-year-old now. She was only like 6-7 months at the time. And it was interesting seeing all, you look at the license plates, and of course, most of them are like Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, but you'd see like G-Wagons with Tennessee license plates. I'm like,
yeah,
probably know what that guy does, maybe.
Yeah. It's, what's crazy is man, like we've gone there so many years over and over again in the summer, and it's like seeing what the prices of the houses have done. Yeah. Like I was always like, oh, this is great. We should buy a house here, do an Airbnb, and then like have it. And then it was like the numbers just never made sense. But the appreciation factor on the look back would have. But then you'd have to sell it, So,
sure. Yeah, I don't know. You really have to know the whole vacation rental market.
Yeah.
So, and you got to live there, really.
So, did you grow up in Destin?
So we originally moved to a little area, Blue Mountain Beach, Santa Rosa, basically the western edge of 30A.
Yep.
And we were there for like 2 years, rented a house until my parents found something to buy, which was in Destin. So majority Destin.
Yeah.
yeah, and then I went.
What moved y'all to Destin?
It was just kind of more going on, more. I guess I wouldn't say industry by any means, but certainly just more restaurants, more businesses. You know, true 30A is very remote, and I mean, it certainly.
But I'm saying from Dallas, like, what made your family uproot and go to Florida?
Sure. So my dad had actually security and cable distribution company.
Yeah.
Had a warehouse off of a little street program drive off of Hines.
Yeah.
It's like right across from, I think, Parker Chiropractic.
Yeah.
But yeah, he sold that company.
Okay.
And basically was like, I'm going to retire, do the Florida thing, buy a boat, live that life. And
that's
he
cool.
Did, so yeah.
Okay. So you grew up in Destin. What happens? Go.
Yeah. So grew up in Destin. I was there, from age 7 up and like through freshman year of high school.
Okay.
Destin at the time, they do now, but they didn't have a high school. You basically had a choice of one of 3 schools, all of which were like a 45-minute drive. And I'm not going to say the names. None of them were really great, centers for education. Let's put it that way. But so I went to one for my freshman year, and then just basically the school, and then also the drive. My parents were like, if you want to look at this other school in Tallahassee, we'll consider it. So we made a couple trips up there. They also had a really good track team.
Yeah.
Like went to state every year, a bunch of fast guys. I ran track growing up.
What'd you run?
So the 800 and then the mile. So half mile, basically 2 laps and 4 laps.
Yeah, you didn't look like 100 guy to me, but
no. Yeah. Yeah, I'd enter the 400, which is just 1 lap every now and then, and just it was sad because like you're just every single ounce of you putting out, and guys would just be pulling away.
Yeah.
So we ended up actually going to Tallahassee for my last 3 years of high school.
Okay.
And then I didn't apply to any Florida schools other than Miami.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I was a teenager. I was like, I just want to get out of Florida for some reason. Applied to Baylor, SMU, TCU, and Miami, a few others, maybe half a dozen. Got into Miami, but did not get any scholarship. And my parents were like, sorry, we're not paying.
It's pretty expensive.
50 G's a year at the time. Now it's probably 80 or more. But I wanted to go into medicine, to medical school. So Baylor, a lot of schools at the time didn't have like a dedicated neuroscience program as far as like something you could major in. It was just an offshoot of biology. And Baylor had a neuroscience actual bachelor's. So that's why
you wanted to go be a neurosurgeon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we all.
Or neurologist.
Neurologist,
Sure. One or the other.
Yeah.
Long road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did that interest you?
So I took a psychology class in high school, and it just kind of piqued my interest. There was a maybe 2-month period. You'd go over different elements and branches of psychology, and there was like a 2-month period where you studied neuroscience, and I just thought it was kind of the physical connection to, or physical explanation of psychology of behavior that I found interesting. So that's kind of what led me down that path. And I never saw myself being in a lab all day doing research.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what's the more practical application of that? Medicine, or neurology, neurosurgery.
Yeah. Okay, so you're at Baylor. Were you there? Were you there during the good times?
I was. So the RG 3 days. Yeah, well, kind of half and half. Good times. So my freshman sophomore year, it was the old stadium. I'll admit, I went to one game. It was the OU game. It was like a blackout game. I remember because I still have the T-shirt. And then, of course, once they built the new fancy stadium, went to just about every game my junior and senior year.
That's
certainly
cool.
the good old days.
Yeah. Yeah. So then medical school?
So let's just say my freshman year, I had a little too much fun. My GPA took a hit. Needed to get that up. And,
were you not being a good Baptist Baylor Bear there? Or?
No, a lot of, Waco probably has a little more going on now, but back then had nothing going on. So I'd go to Dallas or Austin probably most weekends.
Yeah.
but yeah, just, immature, like wasn't going to class. Wasn't making smart decisions. So my grades suffered. Overall, I mean, my GPA was okay, but it wasn't, I mean, you got to be like really 3.8 or higher before you even apply to medical school. So I did a 1-year master's. I basically shoved everything into 1 year, but at Case Western Reserve University, which you ask 99% of people down here, they don't know what that is, but it's in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. So I got to experience that for a year.
How did you figure out you needed to go to Cleveland, Ohio to do this?
So talking to basically the Baylor, my advisor, he was like, hey, look, there's different things you can do to beef up your resume or your application for medical school. You don't really need research or extracurriculars. You need to get your grades up, basically. Yeah. So you can go into one of these programs. UNT actually had one at the time, and you'll take, X amount of hours, and then that, you do well, that weight will apply to your existing GPA, and then, boost your chances. Yeah. Case was one of those programs.
Cool. So you graduated from Baylor and then went there for a year.
For 1 year. I came back here because my parents, after Florida, when I was a junior at Baylor, they moved back here. They live in Plano now.
Okay.
So I came back here for winter break and left my car up in Cleveland out in the cold. There was the snow, and I couldn't even turn it on. It actually had to get towed. So that was my lesson learned.
Yeah. So what was your degree in then?
So the master's was in medical physiology.
Okay.
But it's basically physiology with an emphasis on the medical component.
Okay.
So like we took like physiology, like here's the normal functioning, here's the organ systems under normal functions, and then pathophysiology, which is, in a disease state, here's how these things change, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so you graduate Case Western. You don't have a car.
Don't have a car. So I come back home naturally. I'm living at home, applying to medical school. Need to get a job. Yeah. So I had, over the summers at Baylor, kind of interned, quote unquote, just basically done like clerical stuff at a neurosurgery practice in Frisco, actually. And one of the guys there, my age, who had also interned, he got to talking to one of the medical sales reps, and basically he got me a medical sales job. So I was doing that while applying to medical school. Kept applying, kept getting waitlisted, and after 3 rounds, I was like, I need to basically choose another path.
Yeah.
So it was pretty good timing because it was COVID, basically. So I think it was like first week of March 2020 was when I logged in, and it was like not accepted.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, okay, life change right now. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I was talking to my now wife, girlfriend at the time, and I was like, oh, what about, real estate? Because I liked medical sales, but it's like anything in healthcare, it's all up to insurance. And if they decide they're going to cut reimbursement for the product you're selling, then it sucks for you.
And you're having to fight a bunch of hot chicks.
That's who. Yeah. The blue-eyed blondes go into pharma. The muscle bros go into med device.
Yeah.
So it's very much a true stereotype. But,
so real estate.
So I was like, I'll do real estate. At first I was like, oh, residential, because truthfully I didn't know anything about commercial real estate.
Right.
I think I'd maybe seen Grant Cardone here and there on YouTube just popping up. But other than that, like no experience. So and now my wife actually, or my girlfriend at the time, wife now, she was like, why don't you consider commercial? It's probably a better fit for you than residential. I basically started digging into that and was like, well, brokerage seems like a solid entry point because I don't have $50 million to play with. So
No, it's brokerage is the start, or could be the forever thing too. You know, it's
True.
I think I'll always broker deals. I don't think I can get it out of my system.
Sure.
Like it.
Well, and why would you like cut off a relationship you've had for 10, 20, 30 years, you know?
I mean, I look at what I did last year in commissions, and I didn't even really. I don't think I made one call. Just happens. So
Sure. Yeah.
hard to throw that kind of revenue away. So, so you decide to get into brokerage. So where do you start looking? Like, how do you you've made the decision now? How are you going to get there?
So not a very novel path. I basically I was on LinkedIn and we won't name names. A certain investment sales brokerage, one of the big two.
That's right.
I was like, hey, this seems pretty appealing, and it was great company.
Yeah.
Worked there for a whopping 3 months, actually doing multifamily investment sales in your old neck of the woods, Lubbock. So I was calling people that I'd never talked to, knew nothing about the area. I'd call, it was basically, secondary market, but really is like tertiary, because I was calling on like Snyder and Big Spring.
Oh yeah, you're getting real out there.
Like areas where like there is such low inventory, but people from like the Austin office would call there. And then I would call the guy a week later, and he's like, "Oh, I just talked to you."
Yeah,
and it's like
that's frustrating.
Well, I'm a different guy, same company, but
Yeah.
So I was in a cube all day with a headset on, just smiling and dialing, as they say, which is certainly one way to do this business, and plenty of people make plenty of money. But I wanted to get really back outside, because that's what I was doing with medical sales, was going office to office, in person, prospecting and meeting and whatnot. So,
yeah, if you're on the investment sales side, like that's one thing I think people need to understand when they're getting in the business is like, what do you want to do? Do you want to sit in the sheets all day and like, in an office all day? That's investment sales for the most part. Like,
sure.
Nothing wrong with that. And, that comes over to the same side on the principal side of things. Like some people just want to work on the assets all day long. You know what I mean? And so that's being in an office, like, and executing business plans like that. So it's not good nor bad. It just is, So, I've seen some people come to me and they're like, well, hey, maybe I want to do this. I go, well, what do you like? Well, I like to go out and meet a bunch of people. I'm like, well, you don't want to do investment sales because you're just blasting through.
Yeah, exactly.
Auto. You probably had an auto dialer, right?
Well, I guess auto to the extent of the phone / my headset was connected to whatever the number I clicked on.
Yeah.
So it was connected.
You'd click on a number and it automatically call it for you?
Click on a number, call it. And then here's the thing, without giving away the company, their thing was if it goes to voicemail and you leave a voicemail longer than, I think it was like 18 seconds. I remember that because it's an obscure specific number. Yeah. Then that counts towards your call total. Yeah, there were guys routinely making 500 plus calls a week, which
that's tough to sustain though.
Yeah.
That's the 500 a week. What is that? Golly.
100 a day.
Yeah, 100 a day. I mean, it's doable, but it's not sustainable, right? Like you got to take off at some point.
I would think as you do more deals, like you're having 10, 30-minute conversations, not 130-second conversations.
How many calls were you making a day? Were you making 100? Were you getting there?
Yeah, over 100.
And how many infos were you getting essentially?
So out of the 100, maybe like 15 to 20.
Yeah.
So,
and out of that 15 to 20, how many were like, yeah, I don't give a shit, hang up?
Quite a few.
Yeah. So then how many were substantive?
There were a good few. Like I actually went back and looked on the team that I was a part of on their website, like, because they would post recent closings after I had left. And I think, so I had left in like July, August, and then I saw in like January they had sold this 150 unit complex outside of
you'd sourced.
Lubbock. Yeah. And I was like, well, there goes a nice little fee.
Yeah.
Glad I got it started.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're there 3 months. You just can't realize this ain't me.
Yeah, just wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to a neighbor of my parents / family friend. He's basically a SBA banker. Shout out Mike Schillingberg.
Yeah.
And he had a bunch of brokerage relationships and just kind of knew the landscape. And I told him what I was after. I was like, look, I didn't like the smile and dial thing. I don't necessarily want to go into something like kind of too corporate. I'd like the words overplayed, but something more entrepreneurial.
Sure.
And he basically said, you need to call, he said Lee and Associates, Mercer Company, and NAI.
Yep.
And so I did that. Then one afternoon I was calling, I think I called your brother and you, because at the time on the website, I was like, do I call the president? They're both Mercer,
Right. One looks older, but he's not.
Yeah. It's like, how do I start here? I'll just call both.
Yeah.
And your brother picked up, and of course it was the end of the day. I'm sure he had a long day, but he just started drilling me with questions, and he was like, "What? You looking for a job?" And I was like, "Yeah, pretty much." Because he was like, "What is this? Why are you calling me?" And he was like, "Okay," and then asked me a series of questions, kind of like pre-interview.
Yeah.
And then at the end was like, "Okay, can you come in at 8:00 tomorrow? Meet with a guy named Corby."
Yeah.
So I remember doing that. Exactly that at the old 3030 LBJ office.
Okay, so you're the 30-30 days.
Yeah, towards definitely the
It's very end of it.
Yeah,
but,
very end of it.
Yeah.
So, and then that's how it kicked off.
Did you go interview with NAI or Lee, or did you just not even make it there?
Well, the thing also, and I think this was partially probably some legitimacy to this as far as why I didn't get that far is COVID was going on.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were like, hey, we're trying to make sense of this. We're not hiring new people. There was one guy at Lee who was like, hey, my wife just had a baby and we don't want, being very cautious.
Yeah.
But the Mercer guys.
But Mersace was like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. We had the Mercer Company branded masks and
that's right.
everything. So when I first started cold calling, it was like, with a mask on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What
and
a
I
weird
remember William Lemasters, he had started like a few months before me, and he was like, yeah, man, if we can make it, cold calling with masks on, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
So
what a weird time. Like, it sucks that came out of that or during that time period was gatekeepers used to be able to they kind of give you a reason why they weren't going to let you through. But with COVID, it was just like, hey, you can't come in here.
Sure.
Okay. Like you couldn't argue it. Right. So that was an interesting time. I remember I showed a building that I had listed in Ennis, and this guy flew in from LA, and I toured it with rubber gloves on and a mask. It was the first time I'd left my house in 4 weeks or whatever. And my wife was freaking out. It's pretty funny too. So we're really good friends with our next door neighbors. And, we had, quarantined together. Right. So we're all, don't break the bond. Right. You know, and it's so funny because when I was like, I gotta go tour some. I had this building was like a 50,000 foot sale, and I had a 75,000 foot tenant rep going on. I was like, I just remember I got up one morning and go, hey, I gotta go look at some buildings with some people. She was like, ooh. My wife was like, what? And so then we broke the quarantine bond, and it's funny. My next door neighbor, I think she was mad at me for a little while for doing that because I broke the band up. I was like, we just got to get over this shit. So it was just kind of funny. But, in everyone's defense, no one knew. I mean, no one in our lifetime had ever experienced anything like that. What a
Sure.
weird. So, and then industrial just goes up and to the right after that.
Exactly. Just everybody just, I need double.
Yeah.
Those were the days where it was, you didn't really ask like how much you need in addition. It was just assume you need at least double.
Right.
So
Yeah.
not triple.
Yeah.
And there was a surplus of inventory, and it was just
so
easy to do deals.
It got inhaled. Well, no one negotiated really either because they're like, oh, we got 5 other people looking at it. Okay, I'll just take it. Like, whatever. Cool.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
So easy. So that kind of gives you kind of a warped perspective to start the business, right? Like, because now deals they're back to a grind, which they used to be, right? You know, prior COVID, you know,
well, and I think also, you know, it depends on submarket. Each one is, you know, one can be completely different from another, but Plano Richardson in particular has always had pretty, you know, low vacancy. You've got maybe, you know, if you're a bread and butter needing 10 to 20 dock high, it's like, hey, you got 3 options.
Yeah.
That's it. So, and this landlord's going to do this, and this is going to do that. And, you know, this one you want to stay away from entirely.
Yeah.
So it's like, here's reality.
Yeah.
But
there's reality. That's the, you know, I was running, what's crazy to me is the evolution of that I've seen is like when I started, people would move to save money. Like you've probably never seen anyone move. And I'm talking about 25,000 feet to 25,000 feet.
Sure.
There was a money savings. There was a monetary savings on rent to be had that was justified by moving the company.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you've ever seen that in your career?
Glad you asked that question because I'm doing a deal right now. So not until recently.
Yeah.
But I'm working a renewal. Won't give any details, but they came out at 1050 net, and the client wanted to move anyways, just because there had been
friction,
basically neglect from the landlord. They had foundation issues. The roof of their office pod collapsed. Anyways, so they had already wanted to move, but we got a renewal back at 1050 net, and on the relocation option, I got it back last night, 795 net. So it's like, this is 25% cheaper.
Yeah.
You know? Why would I not move?
Yeah.
You know? And so, I mean, maybe that's coming back into play because I think, you know, people have a lot of landlords have been getting high on their own supply, if you will.
Yeah.
It's like, like I see 1350 net in Richardson for, you know, 20K dock high. It's like, you're not going to get that. Unless some corporate, and I think that's why a lot of like out-of-state tenants, and there was that drove of migration over COVID, but that's not 10%
tapered
of what
off.
It was.
Pretty heavy.
Yeah, so it's like you can't really factor that into the expectations versus, again, reality are as wide as ever.
That's like I was fixing, you know, I've got a couple listings in Brook Hollow, just some legacy clients that I'm putting out, and I was like, for one of them, I was like, hey, the market, the available competing options is going to tell me we should be at 850 to maybe 1050. I go, you want to get this done? He goes, yeah. I go, 650. 650, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, you know, these buildings all have issues. Like, it has to be attractive for some reason. And I have another building down the street, and this is not your typical Brook Hollow building. It's like, you know, 24 clear, you know, more of a traditional distribution building with a truck court, you know. And I was like, market would tell me that this is an 1150 building. And I was like, you want to get a lease? He's like, yeah. I go, 850. So much inventory down there right now. And so but you know, what happens is there's been such a rut, and COVID did this a lot, it started pre-COVID, but COVID accelerated it, was the capital flow into industrial. And what COVID did to accelerate the capital flow into industrial was the profile of capital, where they used to go buy $100 million office tower aren't buying $100 million office tower. They had to hit a real big pause button on those things with COVID because they had no clue what the state of office is going to be. Yeah. So this, they just followed into, industrial. And so then what's crazy now is you're seeing capital flows came from, man from a foreign land buyer, right? Like, I looked at the international plant in Garland on Forest, the big site on Forest. I remember when it was fully operational when I used to call out there or, do deals out there and stuff. And so I always just call it the international plant. But think Link owns it now. But prior to Link buying it, it's sold during like that COVID time frame, late 2020 or something like that. And I looked up the buyer and they're in Manhattan, all they owned was office towers. And I was like, and they were buying this big old hunk of metal, and I was like, man, and now even fast forward, right? Like, a lot of my deals were iOS deals because I was on Irving Boulevard all day long. And then South Dallas, there's a lot of buildings and land. No one would look at those things.
Sure.
Like it was all individuals buying them.
Yeah. Didn't see any value there.
No. And then me and a partner of mine, because I was like, hey, you're a trucking company. You understand these. Let's go buy more of them, And so now you've got Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, sovereign wealth funds.
They're flipping them too. I'm like, what else is there to be extracted?
Dude, I don't know. It's that market.
Yeah, there's probably half a dozen business parks under contract just in Richardson right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like.
Well, the problem with that, what happens is these capital groups sell downstream to their equity. We can achieve these rates. But if you can't achieve those rates, all you have is a really pretty spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And and they don't ever want to take the L on it. They don't want to take the, hey, I know we under at 1350, market's telling us 950. Let's just plug the hole. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But
they'd rather sit on it.
They'll sit on it, hold out for as long as they can. And I'm glad I don't have a shot clock or a gun to my head like that. But it was, that's a real, well, what that does is it allows landlord, like the two landlords I described to you in Brook Hollow, where I was like, hey, here's the pricing.
Sure.
It allows you to beat all those guys.
Yeah.
Because there was 30 competing options. I was like, you've got to separate yourself.
I think also, and again, I'm not institutional underwriting these deals, but my understanding is it's like, hey, we got a 5-year hold. It's like, so you can't afford to, take a discount because it's like, hey man, I have to be within 5% of this number that we underwrote. And then, cause then we're going to sell it in 2 years.
Yeah. Or they might have a fund life.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to round out this fund and in our investment period. And then after that, we've got, 5 years of fund life, and then we have to start selling assets. So like, you got to get it done at that number so we can go portfolio and sell it. So so I think that all leads into like being able to explain to your client the motivations of a landlord, right? If you can articulate, because I used to leave, I swear, I think it was probably 2012 or 13. I was like, man, if there was an award the Wiley brothers gave for tenant rep, I think I would have earned it. Like, I think I probably jammed 10 tenants in their buildings.
Well, they made it easy.
They made it
like, hey, come by, pick up the key. There'll be a floor plan,
right?
Ready for you. It's like, and we're the bottom of the market. So.
And they paid 4.5 on the gross if you need to ask for it.
Sure.
But the expectations were really easy to set. Because I would walk people in there and I'd be like, hey, this is it. They're like, man, why don't these people clean these things up? I go, look, they'll do paint and carpet. They won't negotiate the rate. Everything will work. They'll give you 1 month free rent. That's it. I can try to do all these things. I go, but that's the reality.
Yeah. And you're going to save 20% compared to the next best option.
So And they're pretty functional buildings, you know. I mean, they did a good job of having some pretty good little functional spaces.
Yeah.
I mean, I got real close to buying one of their old projects last year. You know, big brokerage in town marketing it, you know, it says it's 14 to 16 clear. I agree to the deal. I walk in there, I shoot it. It's 12.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, man, can someone just like show up with a laser day one and like check this point?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, 12-foot clear is a killer.
Yeah.
Like, so, but back to my point, I could articulate that too. So like, if you can learn how institutions think on that too, you can articulate them. Be like, hey, look,
Sure. Yeah.
probably get a lot of TI,
Mm-hmm.
probably get a lot of free rent.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and also, I mean, tenant demand per submarket, like, again, going back to Plano, Richardson, a lot of production users.
Yeah.
So they're not racking. It's like 28-foot clear. We're not going to use half of that.
no,
know?
it's very manufacturing
Yeah.
based over there.
So whereas, you know, you bring some off-market investment sale and you're like, oh, what is it, 14-foot clear? I'm not. It's like, dude,
That's the
70% of the tenants in this 10-mile radius could take this.
Well, that's like Garland too.
Yeah.
I feel like every building in Garland's like 10-foot clear, but in Garland, it's okay. Like 14-foot clear is like, it's pretty nice for Garland.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, for the individual type buildings, you know,
Sure.
it's,
I mean, it's basically any service company, any, you know, most mom and pop distributors,
yeah.
and then any production user, you know, unless you got some big fancy tall machine. So
Yeah. We won't buy anything 12-foot clear. I don't think we'll buy
It's a
anything
cutoff.
below 14, probably 16. Probably 16, unless the 14 is just, you know, obviously if it's a screamer, sure, we'll figure it out. I bought a 10-foot clear building one time
I think I remember that building.
on Shepherd,
Mhm.
those two buildings.
Yeah, Tucker Cason.
Mm-hmm. So they're both 10-foot clear. And I was like, man, I'll fight. We got the price right. I was like, man, I'll fight through this because I had land to give. And I split them in two and sold them separately. And so that was very good outcome.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if I'd take that bet again.
Not in this market.
Just,
Was that 21?
yeah.
So
And it's like
different time.
different time. I got out of it alive. Like, but man, if someone brought me 10-foot clear today, I'd be like, or 12. Like, honestly, it's just like, well, and then it's deal flow, right? Like, we got pretty good deal flow. See a lot of deals. It's like, just wait, there'll be another one. But no, I think to kind of come back to the point of being able to take, you know, when you're doing a tenant rep, tenants don't really understand how landlords think. They don't, you know, I always thought this was crazy too. Everybody quotes rent in net terms to tenant reps.
Sure.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
literally quoting what the landlord is putting in their pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only person that gives a shit about that is the landlord.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just because they're just transferring what's on the spreadsheet, you know? So, yeah.
Like,
Because everything else is a wash. So it's like, yeah. So, I mean, I see that. But I agree. Yeah. If you're a tenant, it's like, what's my monthly nut?
yeah. And so, and how many times have you had a guy go, well, $13 a foot. I got a quote around the corner at 8.
Mm-hmm.
Is that net or gross? They're like, yeah, that's everything. And then they call you back like 2 weeks later. Hey, so yeah, we're really like $13 a foot with all the OpEx.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very common, you know, when the prospect likes to tell you what's such a better deal they got without you, but they don't know how to do the math.
Mm-hmm.
So
I feel like again, depends on the submarket, but I don't run into that too much anymore. I feel like maybe because so many people grew over COVID that they got a bit of an education. So
you kind of quit
it
running.
still does happen. But
Well, and you're more mature in your career too. Like, you don't have those guys showing up in year 10 because you just ain't working on shit like that.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're working with people that probably understand more of the fundamentals of what's going on.
Yeah.
So, well, so you got to make some pretty interesting cold calls during COVID, I assume. Oh, or any So I always like to ask, like, what's a funny cold call story or unique one or just,
Sure. So
or shitty one?
I've got one is very awkward, but it was not awkward for me, fortunately. You'll see what I'm getting to. But,
Okay.
so there's a guy, T3, meaning, basically transaction in progress, kind of that, there's a requirement, you're talking to him, but his lease actually expires into this year. So we haven't done a deal yet together. This instance happened about a year ago. But I'd talked to him maybe 15, 20 times up until this interaction I had with him. So we're in his like front lobby area and just talking about the market, what he's seen, whatnot. He's like, yeah, this guy left a flyer. We talk about it. And it's early summer. I want to say like June. And I'm dressed pretty casually, got a polo on, tucked in. I see out the corner of my eye these two, and I look pretty young, but I'll say young kids walking up, and I'm like, I don't think they're selling life insurance.
Yeah.
I could just kind of tell, like, I think these are
Other
commercial real estate brokers.
Yeah.
And you always wonder, like, out making cold calls, am I going to run into people? And you do it, like, a gas station or something usually, or you see them leaving when you're about to go in.
Yeah.
But so I'm like, this is about to get fun.
Yeah.
So they walk in, and one guy's just, and you could tell one was kind of like slightly more senior than the other, and the slightly more senior guy was just like, hey, I don't remember his name, but hey, Randy with so and so commercial real estate, and like just not very authentic of an introduction. The prospect was basically like, yeah, this is my commercial real estate guy right here. And I was just like, oh, I was like, I feel so bad for you. And then, excuse me. So they basically, he, cordially left, and the guy, even the client was like, yeah, this cold calling's tough. Like I couldn't do what they do. But,
Yeah.
That was a pretty awkward scenario.
Well, hey, did you do a deal with that guy?
Not yet. So he's up into this year.
Yeah.
But we've got a renewal proposal. So
Okay, so
yeah, but he wants to move. I mean, like everybody, he wants to buy something. But
sure.
So we'll do something. But
kind of circling back to the talk about institutions buying a lot of this stuff, it's eliminated a lot of options for users to buy buildings.
Yeah. And then also again, specifically to Plano Richardson, all the owner users or maybe not all, but the vast majority are in a decent financial position.
Yeah.
So it's not like, hey man, my margin's 2%. I need this equity. I'll do a sale leaseback. It's like, dude, I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
So that opportunity doesn't exist. And then you're right. 90% of it's institutionally owned. So it's it may be one building a quarter pops up for sale.
Yeah.
That an owner user could buy.
Yeah. I've had that situation where another broker walks in about the same time, and it's like I just kind of make light of it, be like, all right, well, we can both pitch.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Sure.
But that is funny.
I had again, I talked to him at least 15 times beforehand, so I was like, but we hadn't done a deal together, so I was like, how's he going to respond to this? I had an idea, but after that, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
So I don't need a rep agreement,
No, I just I got the stamp of approval right here.
So.
What well, tell me about probably your most memorable transaction that you've pulled off.
So it's really like a 2-in-1. It's two transactions, one family.
Okay.
And I'd say it was memorable for a few different reasons, but early on in my cold calls, I had, maybe first month of making calls, I called on the owner of a company in Richardson, right off of Arapahoe in Grove. So great frontage, hard corner, kind of tucked away because there's like a pretty substantial hedge on the road, so you couldn't really fully see the property. But anyways, called on him. He was pretty open, like, hey man, we've outgrown this. My father-in-law owns the property. Me and my wife run the business. we need X, Y, and Z. Over maybe like 6 months later, I end up buyer repping him on a building on the same street, actually. That was like maybe half a mile south from their current location. And then naturally, I was like, what are we going to do with this now vacant building?
Right.
So he had to be the owner, the dad, father-in-law, had to be at least like 75, if not older. But he still maintained the property, would do like all the landscaping. It was basically kind of like a hobby, so to speak. But yeah, all the maintenance. I don't think he got on the roof or anything like that, but spent a lot of time there, and it was his baby in every sense of the word. So, but two things: one, he wouldn't market it, wouldn't list it, and then also this building was not on CoStar. So somehow, over 2 years, no one else got to it. But I just had it in my pocket.
So it wasn't even listed.
It
wasn't even
listed.
in the database.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
okay.
couldn't.
Not
could
listed.
Type
It just
into
didn't even
CoStar.
exist
Exactly.
in CoStar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was adjacent to. It was basically on the north western edge of the.
But I thought their data was really accurate. Sorry.
Yeah.
They just love that jab. They don't
Agreed.
sponsor me or anything, so
Agreed.
like forget.
Be a heck of a sponsor. Right.
Yeah, right. I should call them up. Be like, so. Anyways, so
50 G's a month minimum.
yeah. I mean, give me something like.
So, anyways, he was nice enough to be like, "Look, here's my price. I'll sell it at this." It was obviously priced for an owner user. No investor was going to buy it. It's a pretty unique building. So it was only 8,500 feet, but it was on 2.2 acres. So it had some land that wasn't paved, but again, hard corner. So there's value to that property.
Yeah.
And around it was like, pretty much like retail, not a lot of industrial. And it used to originally be, what was it? Like an emissions testing facility. So drive-through grade level doors, a little bit of office.
iOS.
Yeah, kind of, except again, the land wasn't paved. But anyways, so I'd brought through half a dozen people over probably 2 years. And again, miraculously, no one else was able to sell it out.
Yeah.
Or, swing in. So, and now it's at a great user pool servicing company primarily. So functionally, it was a perfect fit for him.
Well, I think that is a testament to the fact that you probably drove your market and knew your market. And maybe everybody else was just using CoStar.
Sure.
And one thing that Jeff Mercer always says is CoStar's just good enough to get you beat.
Yeah. So was it B-? Is that what he said?
Well, so I think that's probably, I was talking about this the other day. It's just like, man, when you drive your market on a regular basis, you keep seeing the same thing over and over again. And you start building these like mental models of, hey, okay. And then when someone talks to you, you're just like, or I don't know, you see something change on the building. You're like, man, something just changed. Or, oh, they're putting a roof on. Like,
sure.
What's going on? And, so.
Well, it's interesting too, like with the roof, it's like, there's one landlord replaced all their roofs like last summer. It's probably 10 business parks or so in Richardson. And you're talking to the tenants and they're like, oh yeah, our roof was just replaced. And then I was talking to another one in another building. It's like, hey, your roof's probably about to be replaced. Your OpEx about to go up.
Did that property, I think it did, that was owned by the Richardson ISD, that flex park, did that sell?
It did. I drove, talk about driving the market, like yesterday or 2 days ago, and it's now going to be some kind of retail mixed use thing, which they're trying to do with, I think 2019, there was a PD rezoning for Sherman, interurban, that whole stretch. So
I had that under contract. Mac Morse brought it to me as soon as they got the assignment, and we put it under contract. And the big thing there was they would allow. Well, so that was such an example of like a city not really, like they kind of punished the school district is what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And they made it to where they're like, well, if you lose your zoning, if you lose the use, and the use wasn't like on the use table.
Mm.
It wasn't if the use was on the use table as a permitted use. It was
Sure.
if it was a plumber had to go in.
Mm.
Not if a plumber or an HVAC or electrician could go in there. It had to be a specific trade. And then on top of that, if you ever rezoned it to a use that falls within the new PD, it's never going back. And the school district had zoned like half the building's office or put them as an office use. So they eviscerated their zoning.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a cost. I lost my obviously my capital partner was like, hey, I don't think we can figure this out. So we dropped it.
I had heard, I don't know if this is true, you may know more than I do. You had it under contract, but I heard Richardson ISD bought that as warehousing to store books. That's what somebody told me. I was like,
and they never really
seems
occupied
like an
it.
odd, yeah. But also, like, why would you buy Flex to store books? Like,
They bought it from DRA. I think I think they had intentions of having like a campus type thing to service everything, but it just never happened.
Mm.
There's a lot of vacancy there,
Yeah.
And they were great buildings, great little park, and the adjacent park to it was part of like a larger portfolio that we were trying to buy, and it's the same issue. So
I'd truthfully last 2 years I've kind of steered clear of that area.
Yeah,
just
there's
it's
no
like
point.
There's so many variables, and it's like, look, this is the city wants what the city wants, and I'm not. Little old me's not going to try and influence that.
No,
So,
it's not worth it.
They think they're going to get Legacy West in 5-10 years. Good luck.
Yeah,
It's not happening.
Not happening there, bruh. So, anyways, that was a very interesting situation where cities are their own challenge to deal with, but it's like when they're dealing with their cousin.
Sure.
Yeah. That was kind of what was interesting watching it play out. So, okay, here's a new question I like to ask. I asked it the other day.
Okay.
Have you been fired from an assignment before?
I have.
And
Ryan and I actually got fired from one.
Yeah.
Would have been like last September or something.
Yeah.
And we had a rep agreement.
Yeah.
And
tenant rep or landlord?
So tenant rep.
Okay.
And it was a decent sized deal, like 50, 60,000 feet. He was in 40. But new ownership, his building had sold. And
New ownership on his landlord side.
yes, on his landlord side.
He didn't sell
correct.
his company or something.
No, he still owned and ran the company, but he was in a 60,000 foot building, and he's like, man, I don't need this much. There's 40,000 across the truck court. So same parcel, same landlord.
Same new landlord.
Same new landlord,
Okay.
correct. Let's do a deal there. So we started negotiating on that, got proposals, traded paper. We also had toured maybe, I don't know, half a dozen or so other properties. And then lo and behold, and we were making progress. Like we were almost to a lease on the moving across the truck court space. And then one day he was like, hey, I got something for you. And we actually, when Ryan and I walked in, he was at the printer and he was printing out basically a termination of tenant rep agreement, one pager. And it was like, did ChatGPT write this? Like, what is this? And it was like, Mercer Company was under the impression or knew that like this agreement was specifically for negotiation across, that truck court space. And it's like, well, dude, why did we tour all these other properties? And so that was a punch in the gut.
What were y'all going over there? What was the meeting that y'all were going over?
Basically, like, hey, man, we agreeing to terms. We countering again.
Yeah, like, hey, we're coming over to kind of State of the Union and like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And
the thing was, so Ryan, back in like late July, Ryan was stuck in the UK dealing some like passport stuff. So I was just solo.
Yeah.
For like a 3-week period, and I'd gone in.
You didn't have the brawn with you?
Exactly. and so I don't know. Anyways, so I went in solo and met with this guy in his nice big, 20-foot by 20-foot office. And I was like, because I could just, you can kind of sense something's off.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just flat out asked him, hey, are you working with anybody else? Are you seeing anything else? Even though we had a rep agreement signed, and he was at his computer scrolling through his email, and I saw the emblem of another brokerage.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's interesting. Wonder how old that email is. Wonder if, what kind of communication's been going on here.
Yeah.
And then anyways, that's who he ended up basically using as a tenant rep for another deal. So, which was in an area he didn't even bring up that he would be open to.
Yeah.
So
he's like, hey, you're fired.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It wasn't, the thing is, like, if you're going to say, hey, I got something else, like, so be it. That's fine. Like, a rep agreement means nothing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, unless you want to go to court over it. But
yeah.
Nobody's going to do that. So it's like, just shoot straight. Like, don't try and create some concept of we were only, contracted to do this one deal across the street and or work on this specific
what that
space.
is?
Yeah.
He's a coward.
Yeah.
He's a total fucking coward.
Well, and it's like you lied to my face because when I asked him, he said no.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, just just come out straight and be like, hey, I got a great deal. Because he was saying that, like, yeah, I got a great deal, but then there's all this other fluff. Like, cut the fluff. Just, So,
dude, it's
that's one. That was the learning point. Was trust your gut. That's one of the Mercer principles.
Deal with confrontation head on.
Yeah, and just if being a little further along in my career, it's like you definitely know just from the first 10 minutes with somebody, if they're gonna screw you.
Totally.
And initially when you're getting started, it's like a deal's a deal, but the risk you run could be a total waste of time.
Yeah.
So.
It's I don't understand that psychology. They're probably a terrible manager too of their employees.
Oh yeah. The right-hand guy who's like the ops guy was like, man, he's down in because basically his dad started the company, and he had just more money than he knew what to do with, and so he had like rental properties in like Corpus. He'd go to. He'd be like, oh, this is the ops guy. Oh, he's down there fixing his HVAC in Corpus. It's like, dude, you're in a 60,000 foot space. Is that the best use of your time?
Yeah.
Like, I
don't understand that. I don't know if it's a firing situation right now on something, but like, ain't no one got the balls just to say something. Hey, you got a fucking problem?
Yeah.
Just say it.
Yeah.
We can work through it, or
Sure.
we can tell each other to fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it's funny how
Yeah.
a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the like posturing.
Yeah.
Like, just come out and just like, what's the real issue?
Yeah.
Like, is it like, just tell me, like, we haven't seen what we wanted. We need to expand. We need to look over here. I need to readjust the requirement, whatever. But
well, this is, I think it's something I got from Jeff, but the question to ask is, what's the determining factor?
Sure.
When you ask someone like that specific phrase, they're like, it kind of like grabs them. They have to answer it.
Mm-hmm.
I did that the other day with a group on this situation. I'm not going to tell all about it because it ain't done yet, but I was like, what's the determining factor? They go, well, we thought if we did it this way, we can save some money. I'm like, you didn't read the whole fucking agreement, Nimrod.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you read the first page. Go read the second page.
Sure.
Yeah. And with your title, it's a pretty bad look, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it, I don't know. It's an interesting It's interesting just to see a grown ass adult, someone who thinks they're a grown ass man, act like a fucking child.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that one time. I got fired on a deal, and it's a long story. I'm not gonna go through it all, but he told me that I didn't force him to make this deal that he should have made, and it ended up costing him. But he told me it was way too expensive. He wouldn't consider it. I go, hey man, aren't you a grown ass man, and you make your own decisions, or you need me to make your decisions for your company? He was like, "Whoa!" He got so mad. I was like, "Fuck you! You've already torched
yeah,
this."
it's like,
so
you want to torch this?
Yeah.
I'll show you torch.
Yeah, I was like, "Aren't you a
Yeah.
grown ass man making your own decisions, or you need me to make your
Sure.
decisions for you?"
Yeah.
Oh, he was like, "Oh, how dare you!" You know.
Yeah.
I could kind of tell too. He was Asian, so I think
Oh, jeez.
kind of like really.
Deeply personal.
Yeah, I think they
offended.
really
Yeah.
take offense to those things.
Yeah.
I really had your manhood come into question.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. That's I've always kind of said too, like if you know, it's longer I could offer this as an olive branch, but I'll fight you for it. Like literally fight you. Like if you want to like just save the money,
Yeah.
you can take 5 minutes alone outside and ass whipping in the front yard. I'll do that. No one ever wants to do that though. What is that? A mutual combat? Isn't that like a thing? That's like a law, right? You can go to.
That sounds like a legal term or something.
So mutual combat, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you'll have those situations, but most of the part, they're always good experiences. You create some really cool clients in commercial real estate, and
Yeah.
But that's life. That's life in the big city, man. That's that's business. People.
As much as I think brokers get casted as wheeler dealers sometimes, the operators are a lot of that quite often. It's like-
yeah. I mean, how many guys can you, to your point now in your career, you can kind of walk in and be like, oh, this guy's going to run. This guy's running everyone around.
Sure. Yeah.
I almost think there's almost like, I want to almost say like a mental, tell me what you think, Mr. Brain Surgeon, neuroscience. Isn't there maybe like a mental condition for some people that want to like, just kind of like play this fantasy of, I want to buy a building one day. And they're never going to do it, but they want to like, I don't know. It's almost like an escape from reality for them.
I think that's what it is it's just, it's just like, hey, I've got this concocted. It's like, here's my dream, with no bearing and, well, let's talk objectively where things are now and then maybe how to get there.
Yeah.
But, and again, you see that when it's like, okay, you want that? Here's, you got second gen space at this price per foot. Your new construction's going to be this. You get what you pay for. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'll let you know. So I thought you wanted to buy something.
The best is when they give you this really outlandish requirement and you find it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, here it is. And then they're like, oh shit. I've seen this play out on a deal here recently, and the guy's really super badass, right? Super busy, right? He's really busy, and he here's the golden ticket. This is exactly what you asked for.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get a hold of him now. So it's like, man, all that, like, what were we doing? Like, what were like? Isn't that so weird? It's so weird that people allocate their time to do like a fantasy.
I think you definitely see that more in, startups, not to be demeaning towards startups, but I think so many people, it's like, they just played one card after the other and the dominoes started to fall, if you will. But then eventually it's like, this is maybe I'm in a little too over my head here.
Yeah.
I don't need this,
Yeah. Or like, I really ain't got it. I need to vaporize. It's frustrating because it's,
But again, a lot of times you can kind of sniff that out pretty quick. So,
Well, you've got to you have to have been burned on it before to sniff it out.
Yeah.
You know. So, well, okay. Something I always like to ask: what's something about Christian Moore that most people don't know?
So this is somewhat of a recent development in the last year or so. But I said I grew up running track. I'm now a marathon runner.
Did you run one?
I ran 2. So I feel like that's
not
the
one,
threshold.
2. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did a half like 2 years ago.
And you're like, the 13.1 sticker ain't for me, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm dropping back down to halves now, but that's another discussion. But I was like, I want to do a full, and I want something exciting. So, and I had applied for Chicago on the lottery, the Chicago Marathon, 3 years in a row, and it's like each year, your chances dwindle, just because so many people apply.
Yeah.
And the third time I didn't get in, I was like, screw it, I'm going to do a charity. And so I had to raise $2,100, but I did that.
So they let you in if you raise money for the charity to run it, like a sponsorship?
Yeah, various charities, and each charity gets a certain number of running bibs or race bibs. So it's not like there's still a limit, but it's basically hey, if you'll
pay to play
us, exactly, one way or another. So a lot of that was just a tax deduction for the Moore family, but.
Had a good year.
Yeah.
Need some write-offs.
Yeah. But anyway, so that was my first with Chicago. And then last year, so this past year, so 2025, I did Chicago. But December of 24, I was supposed to do Dallas. I got a horrible case of the flu like the week before. Couldn't do it. But then signed up again. So I was like, well, I'm double stacked. So I did Dallas this past year, and it was absolutely freezing. I wore a beanie up until mile 20. I thought from my research online, it was like, oh, you'll probably throw it off. Like I just chat GPT'd it. You'll probably take it off in the first 3 miles. But yeah, it was like, I think felt like 21 at the start. And it was like 15-mile-an-hour winds. So running around White Rock Lake.
Yeah.
So it was pretty miserable.
So you're not going to go back? Just go halves here going forward?
So I need to work on my speed.
Oh, okay.
So
what'd you run it in?
So I did Dallas, which is a significantly harder course than Chicago.
Topography or something?
Faster. Yeah, a lot of hills. Miles 18 to 20 are like mostly uphill coming back, going west on Gaston. But I did 338 for Dallas, which was
what is that?
A big improvement. 19 per
That's
mile.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, the big threshold as far as like big dogging is sub 3. So that's what several years in the future. But that's like a runner's lifetime achievement is to say you went sub 3. So that's one day.
So you're going to try to, you're going to go back, or you're just going to run halves right now to work?
I think I'll run halves right now and then start doing more like speed work, like mile repeats, that kind of stuff.
I think I was a senior in college, and Jeff was like, "Hey, let's run the White Rock," and I was like, so we'd never ran anything like that, so we split the half. We did the relay, and dude, Lewin from Lubbock got the flu like on Friday, and I was like, I just slept Friday to Sunday morning, but I still ran it. I did okay, but like, man, I was like, I just did all this training.
I was just about to say, that's the thing is it's such a double-edged sword because it's like finally the weather is ideal for racing long distance, but then it's also cold and flu season. So
I used to love running, and like I would go run like in the heat of the day. I loved the heat of the day, like, and now I'm just older. I think it's like I don't run anymore. But
summers are pretty brutal, obviously.
Yeah, I like we had a park next to our house that had that like red clay looking track.
Sure,
I enjoy running on that.
Yeah,
but
running
on concrete,
better for your joints.
Yeah, running on concrete's like ugh. I almost think a marathon is not as much cardio as it is conditioning the body to take the impact.
Exactly. Yeah. Like after Chicago, that's what I learned was like, man, I need to minimum 2 days a week do legs, like heavy squats, Yeah.
Yeah.
Calves, because like your lower legs are mostly, I think it's like, I don't know the stat, but it's like, you know, multiples of force per body, per pound of body weight going into your calf with each step. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No more marathons for me. I'll take a walk.
Yeah.
About 2 miles. It's about max for me.
There you go.
But I'm exerting all my energy in jiu-jitsu. That's
That's pretty. I don't. It's a little too risky for me.
Yes, there is.
I don't want to get cauliflower ears and
it can happen. I haven't, although
torn shoulder and all that.
It can happen.
Common.
Those are very extreme cases, honestly.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
cauliflower ear, I'd say it's a 50-50 shot. I got real close to starting to develop it, but then that ear didn't get smashed again for a week. I got smashed this morning though. I was kind of like, ooh, that might have done it right there. Tearing your shoulder, tearing your knee. Like honestly, it depends what you're trying to do too.
Sure.
Like,
well, that's the thing, knowing your partner, right?
It's all
some random guy who had a bad day and wants to take it out on you.
Yeah, no, where I go, there's a lot of guys my age, so everybody's
Knows each other.
tap quick and tap often, right? Like like my partner I roll with every day. He's probably 10 years younger than me. He was a Division I wrestler. Great, this guy's phenomenal. And but he put me in an armbar today, and he just let it go because he knew he had it, and I knew he had it, and I'm like, yeah, cool, yeah, start over, So so if you can be careful like that, the one injury that is hard to be careful on is your rib, and you can tear your intercostal. Man, I ain't never experienced pain like that before. I thought
like if you're like bent over trying to pick someone up,
it's gonna be a strain. Like you're gonna the first time I did it, it was great. Now it's like I'm at a point now where when I roll with white belts, I can control them but a white belt's usually really spazzy. Like they're fuck, Where now I'm just, now it's it's a controlled fight now for me with higher belts. And the first time I did it was with the brand new white belt, and I was still a white belt, and he was just really spazzy and tried to go past me when he did. I just stretched over, and I felt like I thought I had broken my rib and it had punctured an organ.
Jeez, yeah.
And then my heart rate's through the roof, right? Because we're rolling, You're maximum
so you're
exertion.
Like, oh, my heart.
Well, no, I'm trying to breathe now after that, and I'm like, because the pain of breathing was it was unbelievable. And I went and got an X-ray that day. I mean, I couldn't turn the wheel of my truck. It was gnarly. I tore it again about a month ago, but I felt it tearing when it was happening. And I stopped it. I was back in a week. So now that I know what to look for when it's going to happen. So I think there's a way to be safe about it, but you're right. The situation really is the guy that, you want to come in there and the problem is too, is you might come in there and you might do it to someone that they put you in an ankle lock or a toe hold, and it's they'll rip your whole knee apart doing that. It's but if you come at someone really hard, I mean, the people, there's another Mercerism, people respond in kind, right? So if you give someone, the business, be ready to get it back.
Yeah.
But that's where I get my cardio. So it's fun. Takes a while to get into it.
I did Taekwondo when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Would never do that now. That's too cringy. But
that's
when I was
the thing back then. Our dad did it. Our dad, our dad got all the way to 4-stripe brown belt.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he got roundhouse kicked in the head and got whacked out.
I was gonna say, as far as responding in kind, I was probably 13, and I was sparring with very good buddy, but he had his moments where he'd kind of get heated. wasn't wearing a cup and kicked me, right in the prime spot. And I was like, all right, like, I'm going to kill you as soon as I can get up because I'm in the fetal position right now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you kick him back in the nuts? No.
So, yeah. I think we were done sparring after that. I was just like, I'm going to try and walk in 30 minutes if I can. So
that's but no, that's usually what it is. But like my partner, he's pretty nasty. Like he'll put his forearm right on your cheekbone hard. But I know it's coming and I'm conditioned for it now. So I give it back to him and he expects it. Like I think he almost, he appreciates it in a way. Like he doesn't want to roll someone that's not going to. So that's how we get after it pretty good. So I just apply that to everybody. Like, but you kind of have to have a nastyism to you in that, because you're trying to force your will on somebody.
Sure.
I mean, if this was a real life situation, I would, it's going to be.
Yeah,
I'm going to make it very painful. But no, it's fun. I really enjoy it. I wish I would have got into it earlier in life. So, but, well, man, this has been fun. I'm glad you came in. Glad we did this. I always see young guys come to Mercer Company and I'm kind of like, oh man, like, I don't know how this guy's going to work here. And I see some guys like, and it's crazy. I've seen guys that I'm like, I don't know if that guy's going to be any good. And then I've seen guys like, man, this guy's going to be great. And it's usually the opposite of what you think.
Sure.
So, no, it's been cool watching you do a bunch of deals and then you and Ryan growing together too. Y'all had a hell of a year last year. So congratulations to you guys.
Perfect partner. You need to have him on. He's got more interesting backstory than I do.
Yeah, no, I will. I'm getting to him. So I kind of took a quarter off from doing these, but I'm ramping them back up. So
sure.
Yeah, he's on my list. So, well, man, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Christian Moore. See you, man.